If you can't do the time, and I can't believe I'm saying this, don't do the crime.
As one might have expected, Stephen Colbert of The Late Show absolutely destroyed Donald Trump and his fragile ego. Colbert is adept at hitting Trump where it hurts, and this was no exception. Let's dissect the confusion.
On Thursday evening, Donald Trump was found guilty on all 34 counts.
The first American president to carry that title, would you believe it? Although Trump chose to play the victim in the same way as always, going around pretending as though he's being unfairly attacked while Colbert was having none. His legal issues have long been anticipated, and now he's finally hearing the music instead of owning it.
This is a case where if they can do this to me, they can do this to anyone.
It could happen to anyone who commits crimes.
This is timeless. Colbert's method makes Trump's criticisms appear much more ridiculous than they actually are. But it goes beyond that. Trump's belief Colbert also followed Trump's nonsensical defense and outrageous claims in contrast to the Pillsbury Doughboy. Here, Trump is attempting to paint the judge as a villain of some sort. Sure, you did hear correctly.
You saw what happened to some of the witnesses that were on our side. They were literally crucified by this man who looks like an angel, but he's really a devil. He looks so nice and soft.
Nice? Nice and soft? As you think of the judge or the Pillsbury Doughboy?
The absurdity of Trump's fantasies is astounding, isn't it? Because he is so keen to discredit and divert attention from his own actions, he is prepared to draw these absurd parallels, and Colbert is only there to poke holes in his statements and prevent him from moving. But before we go back a little, here's a summary of Trump's legal history for anyone who might not be up to date. The former president was found guilty on 34 counts related to payments he received for hush money during his 2016 presidential campaign. These are serious accusations that have put Trump in legal hot water, not petty infractions. What's more, the fact that the former president is now a convicted felon is noteworthy.
This is truly an historic moment as Donald Trump becomes the first U.S. president convicted of a crime. Although, once they almost nailed Martin Van Buren for hot-wiring a horse.
Naturally, Colbert couldn't help but lighten the mood with a bit of historical humor. But it's still painfully obvious how serious the situation is. Trump's conviction is gravely endangering his reputation and prospects for a political comeback, so it's understandable that he is responding poorly. After the results were revealed in the Trump Tower lobby, Trump launched his tantrum, launching into a brief outburst during which he repeated his well-known tirades about being unfairly singled out. Time and time again.
You may not be facing a situation where if you can't do the time, and I can't believe I'm saying this, don't do the crime.
Colbert's criticism is forceful and straightforward, highlighting the absurdity of Trump's assertion that it is somehow unjust to answer for your acts. It is abundantly evident that everyone is subject to the law, regardless of money or status. But Trump didn't stop there. He then attacked the judge overseeing his trial, calling him unjust and biased. This is a tactic he has previously employed when things don't go his way. Trump's foolishness was exposed by Colbert's astute analysis and quick wit, which also revealed the desperation underlying his remarks. Trump's criticism of the judge is only a smokescreen to deflect attention away from the fact that a jury of his peers found him guilty based on the information presented as proof. In a recent interview with Fox News, Trump repeated the absurd claim that he never said "lock her up" during his 2016 campaign, a falsehood that anyone with a recollection could simply refute. Trump's own words typically cause more harm than good.
He told an insane lie about his 2016 campaign.
You famously said regarding Hillary Clinton, lock her up.
Hillary Clinton, I didn't say lock her up, but the people don't say lock her up, lock her up.
These types of blatant lies make Trump an easy target for comedians like Colbert. His willingness to distort history and reject reality provides satire fodder. And the best part is that Trump's supporters frequently pardon him despite his obvious shortcomings.
The ex-president and current felon also gave this bonkers reason for not taking the stand.
Now, I would have testified. I wanted to testify, but the judge allowed them to go into everything that I was ever involved in. In other words, you could go into every single thing that I ever did. Was he a bad boy here? Was he a bad boy there?
Trump always plays the victim and tries to place the blame. But Colbert and other late-night shows are there to call him out on his behavior and expose how ridiculous his justifications are. Trump's excuses are as predictable as they are foolish. Trump is not the only target of criticism. His ardent MAGA mob fans are also in the spotlight. Colbert's shows frequently include interviews with Trump fans who are quick to defend their idol, no matter how absurd their justification may be.
MAGA. Outside of the courthouse last week, we heard the wishful thinking that Trump would successfully appeal the conviction predicted by a man with a white beard who gave his information only as Hungry Santa.
The conceptual dissonance among Trump's supporters is astounding. They are so firmly committed to their beliefs that they are willing to overlook his shortcomings, indiscretions, and lies. Colbert's ability to highlight these paradoxes makes for some extremely engaging entertainment. Let's go back to Trump's response. According to people close to him, Trump became the UPS after watching Colbert's show. He called the work unfair and disrespectful, and seemed unable to even take a taste of his own medicine. If you don't believe me, you should just keep watching.
I'm sad for a chat with the gang at...
Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question? Mr. President-elect.
Go ahead.
Mr. President-elect, since you are attacking our news organization, can you give us a chance?
Your organization
You are attacking our news organization.
Your organization
Can you give us a chance to ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can you state... Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state categorically...
She's asking a question. Don't
Mr.
be rude.
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
You're attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you give us a question?
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically...
You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
Can you state categorically that nobody... No.
Wanted to testify even though he chose not to.
I wanted to testify. The theory is you never testify because as soon as you testify, anybody, if it were George Washington, don't testify because they'll get you on something that you said slightly wrong.
Now, Trump noted he is still under a gag order in the case, so he can't talk publicly about the jury or witnesses like Michael Cohen.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
And if we buy this radical argument that President Trump's lawyers advance, we risk allowing January 6th to become our future. And what will that mean for America? Think about it. What will the January exception mean to future generations if you grant it? I'll show you.
We will stop the steal. Today I will lay out just some of the evidence proving that we won this election, and we won it by a landslide. This was not a close election. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down to the Capitol. Let's take the Capitol. Take the Capitol. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
You confirmed that the FBI had confidential human sources at the Stop the Steal rally on January 6th here in D.C., sir?
Congressman, as we've discussed before, I'm not going to get into where we have or have not used confidential human sources. But what I can tell you, you asked for a definitive
We'll move on. It's my time. You said no, you're not going to answer.
Elise Stefanik was asked a question about the impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden, which is not based on facts. And Elise Stefanik gives a roaring support of Donald Trump here. Play this clip.
Sure, like all of my colleagues, particularly in New York.
They're not going to get away with it.
They have so far.
We'll see.
Powerful people in this country, they want to make sure no one hears your voice. They want everyone to look at you like a far-right, crazy conspiracy theorist. Is that who you are?
No, man. I'm a regular American man.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
It was a week that began with President Biden and former President Trump officially clinching enough delegates to secure their party's nominations, setting up a November rematch that many Americans say they don't want. We'll hear from some of those dissatisfied voters. But we begin this morning with the latest inflammatory comments by former President Trump on the campaign trail. Trump stoking more fear about migrants at the southern border. Trump at one point saying they're not people.
I don't know if you call them people. In some cases, they're not people, in my opinion, but I'm not allowed to say that because the radical left says it's a terrible thing to say. These are bad. These are animals. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want.
Former President Trump's suggestion that the U.S. would not protect NATO allies, failing to spend enough.
Extremely angry at the Attorney General's AP interview and had thrown his lunch against the wall.
So we're now at a place where the GOP nominee for president is contemplating the possibility of a prison sentence or some alternative, which he claims he's totally fine with.
The judge could decide to say, hey, house arrest or even jail.
It could.
Face what that could.
I'm okay with it.
Oh, great, because me too. That sounds like maybe that works for everyone. I love how he answered that question like someone just told him they're ordering takeout. Hey, Donald, we're thinking Chinese for lunch. I'm okay with it. Now, if this strikes you as appropriate comeuppance for all the years...
Lock her up. But the people don't say lock her up, lock her up.